Shir is entitled, is a concept of an optional minhag. In the halachos of Birkat Torah, as we learned the previous two shirim, the Mishnah has a very interesting idea. He says that according to Minhag, one could rely on the minhag of the Shulchan Aruch, not say bracha if it takes a long nap on an afternoon, Shabbat afternoon, for example, where the Shulchan Aruch says even if it's a long nap, still the bracha Birkat Torah in the morning counts for the day, and that minhag, Mishnah says, according to Minhag, one could rely on the minhag and not say a bracha. On the other hand, if it wants to go like those opinions who maintain that one should say Birkat Torah because it was a few hours of sleep, and that's considered a hefsek, an interruption in the Birkat Torah from the morning, then one could. In lo mafsid, he doesn't lose that. So it's a funny kind of thing. If the minhag of the Shulchan Aruch is not to make a bracha even after a long sleep, then that's the minhag. You have to follow it. And if the minhag is not binding and the psak is you have to make a new bracha, then make a new bracha. We're sitting in the middle over here. It's very interesting. So we have different kinds of minhagim. You have a minhag like kitniya. Person's Ashkenazic Jew. He follows the halachas of the Ramah, and he must abstain from kitniya, and that's it. 6 hours. You're born to a family where they wait 6 hours. You can't just say, well, I'm going to change. You have 6 hours. That's your minhag. That's your Masorah. You must follow. It's not like, well, I'll choose to follow it. That's it. Then once in a while you find in the poskim something called the minhag shtos, where it's a minhag, but there's no basis, and the poskim say you can't really defend it. It's wrong, and we have to stop such a thing. Once in a while, not too often, you'll see something like that. Moshe had a funny case where a person came to him once. They didn't eat kabrachs all year long. Why? Because they might come to it on Pesach. He says, that's a minhag shtos. He said it nicely, of course, in the sweet style of our Moshe. He said, it's wrong. There's no basis for such a thing. Maybe don't eat chametz all year because you can come to it on Pesach. Moshe says, forget about that. So you have minhag shtos on the one hand. You have a minhag that's totally binding. And then you have a minhag, which is a legitimate minhag. It's not shtus. But apparently it didn't spread throughout the klal. And according to the Minhag, which Mr. Brewer, important that the Mr. Brewer Mem Zayin quotes, that's the idea, that's the nature of the minhag of not saying a Birkat Torah when you sleep for a few hours during the day. So the Shulchan Aruch wrote that a minhag is not say Birkat Torah, just have one Birkat Torah count from the beginning of the day till the next day. He says, but it's not a minhag that became binding on Klal Yisrael because many shitas challenged it. So it's an interesting idea. So there's a legitimate minhag that you could hold on to. But the shita that paskins to say a new bracha is also a very formidable shita. So it could be that the Mishnah holds really in terms of pure psak. If you were just looking at the sugya itself or the topic itself, it really makes most sense to say new bracha. Because a few hours sleep, that's a hefsek. The other things are the minhag not to. So there seems to be a unique phenomenon according to Mishnah Berurah, according to Minhag, where there's times where the minhag is not binding, but it's a legitimate minhag that you could hold on to. But since it's not binding, you can also opt for the shita that paskins differently than the minhag. It's a fascinating case, and it's something to explore where there are other kinds of cases like this where you might have a minhag in one way, but it's not bound. You're not bound by it. You could rely on it, but you can opt for a different psak as well. Of course, every case that it would come up, we're supposed to talk to his posek. Shalom.